Welcome to Let's Talk Antigonish, the podcast where we sit down with neighbors, experts, and friends to explore the stories, the questions, and the big little issues that shape life in our town, one conversation at a time. Is Antigonish ready for a wildfire or a flood or another hurricane? The short answer is yes. A lot has changed on the emergency preparedness front since Fiona, and Blaise MacDonald is here to tell us all about it. Hey everyone, this is Let's Talk Antigonish. I'm Justin, your host. Our other host, Anuj, is out of the country at a family emergency, so he can't be here today. But we are sitting down with Blaise MacDonald, the Antigonish Regional Emergency Management Coordinator, to answer what is, I think, everyone's number one most requested podcast episode, which is what happens if there's an emergency in Antigonish. And Blaise, welcome. And you are literally the person who knows the most about this in Antigonish Town and County, so you're the expert. And it's awesome that you can make the time to be here today. So Blaise, to start off with, what exactly is the Antigonish Regional Emergency Management Coordinator position that you're in?
Well, first of all, Justin, I just want to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to share some information with your audience in regards to our emergency management processes here in the region of Antigonish. Basically, as the role that I have the responsibility for emergency preparedness for the town and county of Antigonish. What comes along with that is in 2022, we approved our first emergency management plan. So part of my responsibilities is making sure that plan is current and kept up to date. I work with the provincial EMO partners just to build a strong relationship in the event that we have to respond to a significant event such as Hurricane Fiona in the last few years, just to make sure we have a good communication, good working relationship in regards to emergency management. Coordinating regular exercises and training with our emergency management team for the town and county of Antigonish, and we try to have a quarterly exercise, at least 2 exercises per year at a minimum.
That involves like all the emergency responders in the area, or?
It can, based on the scenario that we want to practice. For example, last month we did an exercise, a tabletop exercise based on a wildfire scenario. Since everybody knows we're currently in the wildfire season. So each year what we do, we take the time to practice a tabletop exercise based on a wildfire scenario. So during that exercise, we had participants from our emergency management team, which includes town and county employees. We had ground search and rescue. We had RCMP. We had EHS, fire departments in the room practicing with us. So it's a great opportunity to kind of get us ready in the event that we do have a wildfire that starts here somewhere in our region.
Yeah.
So it was a great exercise, well participated.
Great. And
got us in the right mindset for the time period that we're in right now.
So tell us about that, the local team. Like, who is on local government or whoever that group is that is in charge of what happens in this town in the moment? Like, who's at the head? And then what's happening? What's the chain of command?
For the emergency management team, if you looked at the organizational chart, it's laid out pretty specific. And the top person on that org chart is the Emergency Operations Center Director, the EOC Director.
And that's not you.
That's not me. I support that team. The director of the EOC would be the CAO for the town or the CEO for the county.
Okay.
Depending on where the event starts, it could be either the town CAO, which is Randy Delory, or the county CAO, which is Sherlyn Donovan.
Oh, so
they alternate roles. So if it's a long duration event where we have to go 24 hours a day, one person will fill the position for the first 12 hours to be a transition in responsibilities, and the second CEO will come in and fill the last 12 hours.
Okay. And so that's working like an operations center. There's a physical location where they go and they're in charge, and there's like a team under them.
That's correct.
Okay.
We learning from Hurricane Fiona, we identified that we need to have 2 dedicated emergency operations center. So we have the primary center at the municipal office on Beach Hill, and we have a secondary location down at the town hall on Main Street. So they are set up and ready to go in the event that we have to activate the team.
All right. And so those coordinators are coordinating everything for any kind of emergency. That could be local fire departments, the RCMP as well. Are they in?
It all depends. We've been working closely with our first responders, such as RCMP, fire departments, EHS, and if we have an event such as a structured fire, and we have very competent fire departments in the region, we have eight fire departments in the county and one in the town. If they respond to a structure fire and it's the fire is well under control and is in their capability of handling, and they do not need any support, or they do not think this is going to escalate, well, then we do not play a role in that. But if they were to respond to a significant fire that may escalate and become larger and maybe exceed their capacity to handle it, they will notify us, and we can come in and support the response of that particular fire.
All right, so let's play some hypotheticals here. Imagine, because this is on everyone's mind at the moment because it's so dry, and we'll talk more about the drought later. But like, imagine there's a wildfire, and it is out in the county, and it is absolutely headed in the direction of residential areas, and potentially even going to threaten the town. So it sounds like this would be activated, this chain of command. So what happens in terms of deciding when an evacuation happens? Where do people go when they're evacuated? Who's on the ground coordinating that? And we already figured out kind of who's at the top. But yeah, just tell us like what would go on. What can we expect?
Yeah. So if we had an active fire start in our region, in the Antigonish region, Department of Natural Resources is the responding agency that has the responsibility to oversee the response to the actual fire.
So DNR coordinates the actual putting out of the fire.
They coordinate the actual putting out of the fire.
Okay.
So if a call went into 911 and reported a fire in a part of the county, you would probably have DNR and a local fire department show up on site to start fighting the fire.
Okay.
Now, if the fire has the potential to grow or gets out of control, DNR or the fire department, the fire chief, could contact our EMO organization and ask that we could stand up the team and support the efforts in fighting the fire.
Okay, so that's where Randy comes in and collects his team in a room somewhere, maybe here at Beach Hill.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So with that being said, during the exercise that we had in, I think it was 2 months ago now, we had practiced a wildfire scenario out in the Pinevale area. And part of that exercise was that we had to evacuate a certain portion of the community.
Okay.
So with doing that, we would have to make sure that we notified all those members in the community about the need to evacuate.
How do you do that?
Well, in various ways.
Yeah.
Nova Scotia, the Nova Scotia EMO has a program called Alert Ready. It's a structured program that we can issue important messages to the public within a certain area or within the entire province. So we would generate an Alert Ready request, send it off to Nova Scotia EMO, and they would broadcast that over radio, telephone, and TV channels. So that's one way of getting the information out. Now, in some parts of the communities that we live in, cell coverage is limited.
Yep.
So in the scenario that we practiced last month, there was a section of the community that we knew didn't have cell coverage. So part of the EMT, once they activated the EOC, they have to identify the objectives of the response. And during that exercise, one of the objectives was that we had to go knock on doors.
Okay.
So working together with the instant commander at the site, which is DNR, we came up with an action plan that would allow ground search and rescue teams to go into that area and actually knock on doors, informing people that they had to evacuate their homes.
That's interesting. See, during Fiona, out where I live, I don't have good cell coverage, and we lost electricity for almost 2 full weeks. And I had no information. The only thing I could really get was the radio. But I found at the time there wasn't a lot of being broadcast on XFM or anything I could get. So is let's say it's an ongoing sort of emergency and there's no cell coverage. What is the communication system for people who may not have to evacuate but are sort of stuck?
That's the challenge that we face with. For those communities that have no or poor cell coverage, it will come back again to the EOC team, identifying that as a priority and setting up a plan on how we will communicate those messages to those that are impacted. And the only way that we would have would be through the Alert Ready process, which broadcasts over TV, radio, and cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
If we know that we have a a certain portion of the community that would not receive those messages. We'd have to establish a plan to actually go in and knock on doors to get that message across.
Yeah,
But again, at the same time, we'd have to make sure that it was safe to send our first responders into that area.
absolutely.
So I think we may touch on it later on, but the key thing is people need to be alert to the hazards within their communities. They have to be aware of their surroundings. So if we're in wildfire season and you live close to the forest, you need to be aware that if this forest catches fire, what is my action? What am I going to do to be prepared? Same with the people living close to the rivers and brooks and streams. If we're into a heavy rain situation, you need to be aware of the hazards. And what would you do if you started to see the river rising? How would you respond to that? So we all have to take some of that ownership back on ourselves. Be prepared. Have your emergency kits in place. Have your emergency plans in place in the event of something bad happening, such as a wildfire, a flash flood condition. How would you respond to it?
Yeah. Two questions to follow up on that. One, is there a radio station that you can turn to get like constant updates here in the region, like on AM or FM?
What we would rely on, again, we would get the message out. If it was an important message that we want to communicate, we would use the Alert Ready prevention program.
Okay.
We have in our emergency management team in the EOC, we have an information officer. And based on the event and based on the response, that information officer would prepare briefings that we would distribute through radio stations, through our town and county websites, getting the information out to the public. There's no one particular station.
But XFM might be broadcasting regular.
XFM would be broadcasting that information for us.
So in terms of personal preparedness, let's talk about that, because I mean, you know that when a fire structure happens, you think, or it's your house, there's a fire, and you think, I'm going to go collect my stuff. I've got a few minutes. I'll go to the safe. I'll open it up, blah, blah, blah. But that usually is not the case. You usually have to go out the door right away. So what is it that you can do, like in terms of a go bag or something, to prepare for an immediate evacuation versus an impending one over maybe you have to leave in a day or two? So what do people need to do?
Yeah, I think the first thing remain calm. I know over the last number of years, everybody says the weather's changing, and we seem to have more dramatic weather events across our province and across the country. But yes, be prepared. Understand the hazards in your area. Again, going back to if you live close to the forest or you live close to a river or a brook, understand those hazards. Prepare your home to mitigate any impact from those weather events, and definitely have yourself an emergency plan in place. With details of contact numbers, information that you need during the emergency that you may not be thinking about during the emergency. So have it all prepared. Have an emergency kit close by. Having things in it with like food, water, prescription medications, things like that you will need during an emergency. Things that will get you through the first 72 hours of an event. Things that you can grab and take with you. Having your personal detail, things that are very important to you that you can take with you and go. Things that you need during that emergency.
And copies of your passport and stuff like that.
Oh, definitely. I used to travel a lot internationally, and I would have I'd have my actual passport. I'd have a picture of my passport on my cell phone, and I'd have a hard copy photo of my passport in the event that you have an issue with losing a device or losing your passport. At least you have multiple opportunities to have a copy of yours.
I used to have a copy of my passport in my shoe when I was traveling.
Exactly. Keep it safe. Keep it in a safe location, and a location that you can easily grab and leave your home. Because in these wildfire scenarios, I think if you watch the news over the last few years, sometimes you don't get a chance to go home, and sometimes you have to evacuate immediately.
Yeah.
And you don't have time to rummage through your house looking for this information. So you have it stored away in a location that you can quickly grab and exit your house and leave to a safe location. You're setting yourself up and your family for a successful response.
Yeah. Do you recommend a specific website or recommendation for how to put one of those kits, those emergency kits together? Does the town have one, or does it in the province?
What we do, I would say the best location to go to understand more about emergency kits and emergency plans is visit the Canadian Red Cross website. They have a lot of great information on there about how to build your emergency plan. They also have sell emergency kit, emergency go bags.
That's true.
Depending on the type that you want, they have a basic to the top of the line type bag. So I would recommend visit the Canadian Red Cross. They provide a lot of great information in being prepared for emergencies.
It's a good tip. So let's say you get a knock on your door and someone says you have to evacuate. You're somewhere out in the county. Where are people most likely going to head to? I mean, I'm assuming it's your command center that's setting up all the centers where they go, the comfort centers, whatever. So explain exactly what happens there. Where are people going to go?
So part of the emergency management planning is when we activate the emergency management team, we come together at the Emergency Operations Center. And based on the event and based on the location in the community, we have 23 comfort centers and we have 2 emergency shelters.
Okay.
The 2 emergency shelters, we have one at CACL in the Legion, in the downtown core, and we have one at the Heatherton Wellness Center out in Heatherton. So with the information that we have in the EOC, we would formulate a response plan to the emergency. And we would identify the location that we would want people to evacuate to. So,
okay. So what is the difference between an emergency shelter and a comfort center?
Well, a comfort center is a facility that's operated by a local organization, and it would be open during let's use an example. We have a power outage in the community, and the power is going to be out for a few hours. We might have extreme cold conditions or extreme hot conditions. So the center would be open for a set period of time, a few hours. It allows people to come in, charge up their personal devices, maybe get a cup of tea or a fresh drink of water, get enough information update on the event. And once the event's over and people feel like they're okay, they can leave the comfort center and go home. Comfort center is not set up for overnight accommodation.
Okay. So you're not sleeping there?
You're not sleeping there.
Right.
You're just going in and, like I said, getting information about what's going on with the event, charging your cell phones, having a cup of tea or a drink of water. Now, an emergency shelter is completely different. An emergency shelter is set up for overnight accommodations. So learning from Hurricane Fiona was that we needed to have dedicated emergency shelters within our region. With that, we have three great agencies such as CACL in the Legion and the Heatherton Wellness Association in Heatherton. They came forward and offered their locations to be used as emergency shelters. So over the last 2 years, we worked with them, and we have 10-year MOUs with both facilities to operate as an emergency shelter. We have procured supplies for both shelters, that we have beds, cots, blankets, pillows, hygiene kits at both locations.
Okay.
And we also work with both facilities that we now have backup emergency generators, that in the event that it's a long duration power outage associated with the event, we have power that's capable of carrying the full load of these facilities.
Wow.
So we're in really good shape now, I think, in regards to evacuations.
Yeah. And how many people, if both centers were open, how many people could you accommodate overnight?
Well, if you're familiar with the Heatherton facility, it was formerly a school.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say, you have a number of classrooms, a big auditorium. You could probably get in excess of 200 people in Heatherton.
Right.
And I would say probably similar to the Legion and the CACL facility, probably 200 people in the both locations. So that would be a total of 400 people across the 2 locations.
Right. And are there lessons that you learned since Fiona? Because it seems like a lot of this stuff was sort of set up post Fiona. Was that sort of an event where you're like, hey, we have to change some things in terms of response? And then what changed since then?
Yeah, well, Fiona, in any kind of an event, you should always take the time to learn about the event, learn about the response that you put in place to respond to that event, and identify any potential improvement opportunities. And during Fiona, it just was an event that happened. We were just getting ready to approve and roll out our emergency management plan. So it gave us an opportunity to take a step back, We did a coalized review of our response, how well it went. We talked to our business community, we talked to our first responders, RCMP, fire departments, EHS. We talked to our emergency management team. And from those discussions, we identified a few areas that we needed to address. One being the emergency shelters.
Right.
So we definitely did a lot of work in getting ourselves set up that way. So from every event that occurs, you should take the time after the event is over to see how well you did. Talk about the things that worked well for you, celebrate those.
Yeah.
And also identify the things that you need to improve on.
Okay.
So with any event, that's the approach that we're taking now.
So the shelter thing really was kind of born of this need that you found.
Exactly. We thought that having those identified up front and having supplies there puts us in a better position to support our community members.
Yeah. So similar to this knocking on doors thing, what about folks who are more vulnerable, elderly folks who may not be receiving any of these messages, or we're not even sure if they're home or not? I know that traditionally where you live out in the county, you know who your neighbors are, you know who needs to be checked in on. Is there some sort of registry of vulnerable people, or is that part of the discussion?
Yeah, currently that's an area that we've been focused on for the last couple of years here in the town and county of Antigonish. In September of last year, the new emergency management department have identified the need for a vulnerable persons registry in the province. And over the last 2 years, we've been working closely with our Nova Scotia emergency management contact people. And over the last several months, the new emergency management department have identified the need to develop a program that can be applied across all municipalities across the province. We were able to provide feedback to that program, and they are currently working with the CAOs and working with others to develop one program that will work across the province that's applicable to all of the municipalities.
Oh, interesting.
So once they have that program identified and they have a certain standard, we will take that, we will review the standard, and we will apply it across our region. So there's more to come on that. I'm thinking by the end of this year, we will most likely be implementing a program across our region.
That's interesting. Yeah, and I know Ann Kamoza, who you probably know, as we've talked a bit about this, and she's hopefully going to put together a special episode on emergency preparedness as it pertains to people with disabilities in wheelchair use and stuff like that. So I won't get into the details here, but it's interesting that you're working on sort of a provincial-wide program.
We feel that it needs to be a provincial-wide program. There's, I think, in excess of 42 municipalities across the province, and we don't feel there should be 42 different programs. We feel there should be just one program that meets the needs of all Nova Scotians.
Yeah.
And Ann, I've had a lot of discussions with Ann, and she's a great proponent of the vulnerable persons registry, and it's probably moving along faster because of people like Ann.
Yes, yeah. Ann does not mess around when it comes
to
advocacy.
Can I highlight one thing on that?
Yeah.
Even with the vulnerable person registry in place, during significant events like the snowfall that we had last February,
Yep.
it was very difficult for people to move around our community. It snowed for 3 days completely. I know I couldn't get out of my driveway for 3 days before I could get it plowed. I feel, and I say this in a lot of the meetings that I have and kind of like town hall discussions with community groups, is we really need to get back to looking after one another. And what I mean by that is, if you're living in a community and you know you have an elderly person or somebody that may be at a higher risk during an emergency situation, please take the time and go look after them. Go over, knock on the door, and see if they're doing okay. And if you don't feel comfortable doing that, contact us and ask us to go check them out. And we will send somebody to check them out. And we have resources such as the ground search and rescue team. They do a great job in our communities. We have fire departments, we have RCMP. So we have the opportunity that we can send people to check on people. But again, get to know your neighbor. And during these events, these extreme weather events, whether it's a hurricane or a snowfall, winter snowstorm, look out for each other.
Yeah.
Go knock on the door and ask if they're okay. Ask if they need help. So I think that would be a great.
This is a good point. I mean, out where we live, this is normal for us. Like, we check on each other, we're helping each other clear snow. The trees after Fiona. But you always have that sort of one person, up on the hill who nobody talks to and you don't know if they're even there. So what you're saying is actually really helpful information. You can call emergency management here in the town, and the town will go out and check on people.
Exactly.
That's really useful information, I have to say, because we do take care of ourselves out in the county, but you're also there to back us up.
No, exactly.
Okay.
Like I said, we'll try our best. We'll develop a plan. Like I said, we have the opportunity to work with provincial partners and their federal partners, so we'll make sure something happens.
So let's talk more about that. So who are the players I mean, we've got sort of town and county squared away here, and DNR was involved in putting out the fire itself. But what about other players, federal or provincial? And then you have the Nova Scotia Guard thing. That's a new thing that's coming up. So how do all these agencies coordinate? Like, when do you rely on them? What kind of help do they provide? And what do you hope that they'll provide?
Yeah, so we do have the support from the provincial governments and the federal governments. Now, I won't get into all the details on their roles, responsibilities, but how it would work here at our level is that our emergency management team would come together. We would activate our emergency operations center. We would identify the clear objectives and the actions that we're going to put in place to respond to the event that we're dealing with. If we were faced with a situation that was outside of our capacity to manage, and I'll use the example of, let's say our cell coverage, our cell phones were down.
Yeah.
Well, we really can't do much about that. So if we reached out to the providers of cell service and weren't getting the right response, we could request a higher level response from the provincial government, and the provincial government could request response from the federal government to get the support that's required to get those services restored in a reasonable amount of time. So during Hurricane Fiona, we did have to send out requests for support in restoring cell service. So that does work well. But again, you have to realize during major events such as a hurricane, when you have a major portion of your province impacted, some of those resources may be delayed in getting to the site.
Stretched resources, yeah.
So no, just one comment on Nova Scotia Guard.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That is going to be a great resource for us now and in the future in responding to significant events such as a Hurricane Fiona. That is going to be a pool of experienced people. They currently have 1,000 people trained and vetted and ready to respond, mobilized to support the municipalities throughout the province. They have another 1,000 people being vetted. So those people have experience in chainsaw operations, operating and running custodians of comfort centers. So they come with a lot of experience, and they're already proven that they're competent in these areas. So it's going to be a large resource for us to draw from in the event that we have another impact of a hurricane.
So that, because I don't know the details on the Nova Scotia Guard, but it's a volunteer group, provincial wide, of people who just said, "Hey, I'm available if you need me," and they can be deployed anywhere. Like you're saying, if we need a bunch of trees are down, we need a bunch of people chainsawing for roads, you call in the Nova Scotia Guard, and that's volunteers.
Exactly.
Okay.
Again, volunteer organization, and a big part of our community here in the town and county of Antigonish is volunteers. Without volunteers, we would struggle. And the Nova Scotia Guard is another volunteer organization, and I know a lot of people ask me sometimes, how can I help?
Mm-hmm.
I would say you can help in responding to emergencies by, talking with your local fire departments. Yeah, if you have aspirations to become a fire department member, become a fire department member.
Because they're actively looking for more members,
they're
right?
Actively
all departments?
Exactly, yeah. All fire departments. If you belong to a social group that operates a comfort center, join up with these social groups. They also struggle with new members joining up. If you want to be help across the province, join Nova Scotia Guard. Put your name in Nova Scotia Guard, and as required, you'll be called upon to provide services to your community. And, do a good deed for everybody.
So we've talked a bit about you're responding to an event and preparing to respond to an event. But what about preparedness in terms of vulnerable areas where we know there's going to be continued pressure or evolving worse pressure, like the areas in the town that always flood, or the areas that are particularly vulnerable to wildfire? Does the town do anything sort of in terms of infrastructure preparation or, zoning laws or things that are preparing for potential floods or fires in the futures by changing the way we build or the way the town is functioning?
There is flood zones in our region. I know they're looking at making changes to bylaws and where people can build and that kind of stuff. I can't talk in particular detail. I'm not that involved with that. But when it comes to our region, when it comes to wildfires, when it comes to a flash flood condition, I'll go back to Hurricane Fiona again. We know there's certain areas in our communities that's prone to flooding conditions.
Yeah.
So prior to Hurricane Fiona making landfall, we approached a community within the town of Antigonish, and we asked those folks if they would like to evacuate their homes prior to the hurricane making landfall. We were going to put them up in a hotel room and look after them for the duration of the hurricane making landfall, just in preparation to make sure that they were safe. That if there was a chance that community was going to flood, we would rather get them out of that impacted area prior to flooding conditions. So we look at the event and we set the objectives and we try to be proactive in mitigating an event from becoming worse. So that's the approach that we take from the EMO side. And I know on the planning side, they're looking at things in the planning division about how and where we can build our homes.
Yeah, but it's not unknown that you already know where the vulnerable areas are. So you're prepared for, you're looking far ahead.
We're looking far ahead, but at the same time, again, it comes back to the forecasting of these weather events.
Yeah.
And putting the plans in place to address a flash flood condition or a wildfire condition. So it's being prepared in multiple ways.
Yeah. So let's switch to a slightly different subject. The new fire facility that is being built. There was some news announcements about that, but I don't think most people are aware of what it is and what it's for. Just tell us everything you know about it. I don't even know enough to give you a preamble. So there's a new fire facility being built. Tell us.
Yeah, Justin, thanks for bringing it up. I think this is a great opportunity for the town fire department and the 8 county fire departments. This was something was brought up at one of our EMO planning committee meetings. It was raised by the fire chief from the Antigonish County, Adrian Van de Sand. We talked about was there a need or energy around building a training facility within our region that would support the training of our local fire department members. It did get a lot of interest within the community. It got a lot of interest within our EMO organization, and it got a lot of interest and support from the town and county councils. So we are currently in the process of developing a training facility in the Lower South River Industrial Park.
Okay.
It's a 5-acre lot. We currently have the land cleared. We have a driveway put in. We have a pad in place. We have purchased some equipment. So there's different phases to the project. We're hoping to have a building, also an administration type building. So with the training facility, we're going to have a structure to do live fire training, search and rescue. There'll be a water reservoir with a dry hydrant to help train and teach our fire team members how to conduct dry hydrant bunkering operations to make our response to wildfires more effective and efficient. And also another training module that we'll put in place to allow the fire department members to train on motor vehicle extrication exercises, using the jaws of life, and advanced medical response. So it's very interesting. Like I said, getting a lot of attention. We got off to a good start. We're kind of in a slow pace right now. We have to do some legal stuff around the lease agreement with the municipality. We're still developing the pad. We made it one size, and then after we had it developed, we soon realized we're going to make it a little bigger. So we're in the process now of collecting quotes to make the pad bigger. And once the pad is bigger, I think soon after that, people will start seeing some structures being developed on the training site.
Okay.
So
So
the
is the pad is just like a big cement like slab that you can burn stuff on? Is that what that is?
well, the pad is if you look at the property, it kind of slopes downhill, and we had to build a flat landing to put the training modules on. So the pad is basically a flat piece of land that we brought in a lot of aggregate rock to make a nice level
Okay.
pad to place the training modules on.
So that's stuff you can set on fire.
Stuff you can set on fire in a
Okay.
controlled fashion. So the objective is to train our current and new members in the training of fire department members. And what we want to do is we want to be able to qualify and certify our training members at this site. And this will also allow members, free up some members from traveling away to get this training and this certification. We'll be able to do it right at home. And it'll be another tool that will help with the retention of firefighters and the recruitment of firefighters in their fire departments.
So it seems if you wanted to be a volunteer firefighter, now is a good time because there's going to be exciting training like right next door.
Exactly. I think it's going to bring a lot to the fire departments. I know the fire chiefs are very enthusiastic about it. And like I said, I think there'll be more to come. And I know the fire departments share it on their websites, and we share updates here on our websites also. So if anybody out there needs more information, you can reach out to myself, and I can update you on where we're at and where we're going with this.
So in terms of disaster preparedness, there's obviously the local government's initiatives, but then there are organizations like there's a workshop facilitated by Riley Olstead. What is it? From the Reimagining Futures Collective. There's a disaster preparedness workshop, and I imagine St. FX might have its own disaster preparedness initiatives. Like, do you know of other disaster preparedness people active in the area, and what is your relationship with them? This workshop specifically.
Yeah, so it was great to see Riley and others from St. FX took an active role in supporting our emergency preparedness in the town and county of Antigonish. So we held a couple of workshops down at the library in Antigonish, and it was all around hurricane and wildfire and flood preparedness. It was an opportunity to provide information to the community about the EMO organization here in the town and county, and also to provide other information around those organizations that you can reach out to for mental health support, how we will communicate during an emergency, talking about mapping around the town and county. So it was just a great opportunity to get with the people of our communities, let them know who we are, let them know we do have a plan, we do have people trained and ready to go and respond, and just to help put them at ease in regards to emergency preparedness.
Yeah,
I know we had a workshop last September at the CACL and the Legion Emergency Shelter. We opened it to the public. We brought in Red Cross. We talked about what a shelter would look like, what to expect at a shelter, and we talked about emergency preparedness. So it's great to see others getting involved and getting our community set up for success in the event that we have a natural disaster such as a hurricane or a wildfire.
Yeah, so these are mostly just information sessions to explain what's already. It's not like there's another organization working in parallel. This is just people getting together curious, and you're kind of like what we're doing now, explaining what's happening.
Yeah, exactly. Just getting that information out to everybody. Like I said, calming the fears that people may have. I know over the last couple of years, ever since Hurricane Fiona, there's a heightened awareness around natural disasters such as hurricanes. And by sharing this kind of information, hopefully it puts some people at ease about, okay, we do have a plan.
Yeah.
We do have people ready to respond, and they have a protocol in how they would respond. And if I was impacted, I know there's somebody out there that's going to come and help me.
Yeah. Is there anything that when you're speaking with the public that they often misunderstand or get wrong, or that you just wish that they understood about emergency preparedness here in the town that you just like to tell them now?
Well, I think the important thing is always remain calm. Don't be fearful. I think as I go through these workshops, I can see there's people that are fearful of the next hurricane season. But we've had weather events happening over the last hundreds of years. Every year we have a hurricane season. So the more you can do to educate yourself, be aware, listen to forecasts, have your emergency kits in place, have your emergency plans in place, safeguard your surroundings, know your neighbors. So if you're living in a wooded area and you have trees all around your house, you may want to safeguard your house against wildfires.
How do you do that?
Well, the DNR has I forget the actor name, Safe Community or Fire Smart Community. There's lots of great information that's on the website of DNR. Helps you understand how to make your area safe when it comes to wildfires. If you have combustible material around your house, I think it's within 30 feet of your home. If you have a wildfire and the sparks and embers fly and they land in combustible material, such as having bark around your perimeter of your house.
Oh, yeah. Like
mulch. Mulch in that. If an amber lands in that, potentially there's a chance that may ignite and cause a fire. So just being smart about the surroundings and safeguarding your home in regards to wildfires and that kind of different events that could potentially happen to you. And again, flash flood conditions. You live close to a brook or a stream, be aware of your forecast, your weather forecast. If it's going to get a lot of heavy rain, what would you do if your brook starts to flood? Have a plan in place and have your emergency kit ready to go.
Yeah, so the conclusion is like be mindful and think about the future and potential disasters, but don't be overly worried about it and realize, I guess what you're saying, like we've thought a lot about it here in the town and county, and you're ready to go if something should happen.
Exactly. Like I said, we try to learn from every event, and we try to put new plans or enhance our plans that we have. And I think from Hurricane Fiona, we're in better position in preparation for another hurricane. There may be some missteps. There may be challenges in the future that are new to us.
Yep.
But by having a structured plan such as the emergency management plan for the town and county, having our emergency management team train and practice on exercises, and having a structured EOC room where we come together and we identify clear objectives of what we're trying to accomplish, I think we'll be very successful in the future.
Great. And before I let you go, one last thing, and this is the one that's on everyone's mind, and I don't know how relevant this is to you and your department, but the drought conditions that we're currently dealing with, and the water restrictions, is that part of emergency preparedness? Is drought sort of under your umbrella?
Yeah, it is, and just in the last couple of days, I know the provincial counterparts made some new restrictions in outdoor activities.
Yeah.
No walk or no going through the woods on ATVs. No outside fires. And I really would really like to see people pay attention to those restrictions. Definitely the outside fires. We've had very drought conditions over our county for the last number of weeks. I know just doing some yard work on the weekend, the ground is very dry, very, very dry. I think people, as they travel through the community, you can look at streams and brooks and you can see there's no water in them.
That's for sure.
Our restrictions that we implemented just in the last day about the mandatory restrictions. So I hope people pay attention to that. Support us by ensuring we have the water supplies that we need in the event that we have to respond to an emergency. So there's actions being put in place to prevent that from happening, bad things from happening from these drought conditions.
Yeah, and is it the case that if there's a wildfire, the most likely cause of it is going to be human activity, right? Or at least
a lot of times you do have that human factor playing in it, but with these extreme dry conditions, I know a lot of places in Western Canada, a lot of these fires start from lightning strikes. So,
okay.
We have those thunderstorms and lightning storms. It could start by that.
Yeah.
It could start by somebody carelessly flicking a cigarette butt out their car window driving along the road. So just got to be very mindful of our conditions, of our surroundings. Understand the hazards. Again, understand the hazards. We are in very dry conditions. And it doesn't take much for a cigarette butt being tossed out the window to catch on to a dry piece of grass.
For sure. Well, Blaise, this is extremely helpful and a nice long episode. I feel like I'm not going to cut anything out of this because this is all massively important information. So yeah, thank you for joining us. And if people are curious, like if they have an actual question, like, well, wait a minute, what do I do if, or what should I be doing? Or I've heard about someone who needs help. Like, where do they go? Is there a website that you would recommend, or a phone number here in the town?
I would, again, if you're looking for information on the emergency planning and emergency kit, I will look on the Canadian Red Cross website. A lot of good information there. We don't try to duplicate those sites. We point towards those sites. You can look at the Antigonish town website. They have information about our emergency management plans. You can look on the municipality of the County of Antigonish website. Same thing, look at the plans that we have there and the information that we share. You can contact the town hall or the county office. I don't have their numbers right here with me.
Just make a phone call to the main line.
Just make a phone call. If you want to talk to me, contact them, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I know usually during the wildfire season, I get more calls at that time of year from the community members than any other time of year. People are concerned about certain things.
Okay.
They look for information on what to do if we do get a wildfire. So again, feel free. If you'd like me to come to meet with you or a small group in your community, I'm open to that. We've done several sessions over the last few years. We've been to the town hall or the library here in the town the last couple of years. We wrote the AirSeg, had a town hall talking about the emergency preparedness. We brought along DNR. We brought along members of the Red Cross and myself. So we're open to that also. If you would like us to come and talk to your group, just reach out to us and we'll make something happen.
That's awesome. Well, thanks again.
Okay, that's great. Thanks, Justin. Appreciate the time today.
Yep, bye-bye. Thank you for listening to Let's Talk Antigonish. If you like the podcast, don't hesitate to subscribe. Just go to letstalkantigonish.ca and click. Voila! You'll receive new episodes right in your email inbox.
This podcast is a labor of love. Please consider making a contribution, small or large. Maybe a monthly subscription. Depending on the level of public support, we would like to engage local producers and journalists to create more regular deep dive news stories about life here in Antigonish.
Right now, it's just Anuj and I doing this in our free time. You can read all about the podcast and ways to support us at letstalkantigonish.ca. And if you're a local business that wants to sponsor the podcast or even place an audio ad, we are certainly not opposed. A huge thank you to all of our subscribers and especially our paid subscribers, which have helped us to buy the audio equipment that we needed to get this thing off the ground. And remember to get in touch with us if you have an idea for a future episode or a burning question about life in Antigonish that you want us to explore and get answers to. We welcome all feedback. Just email us at letstalkantigonish@gmail.com. Let's talk, Antigonish.